So today I want to talk about how roaming is changing, not incrementally, but structurally. Roaming was built as a wholesale model. And what we're seeing now is a shift towards a digital marketplace and eSIM at the center of that change. International travel is back. Travel behavior is stabilizing. But what hasn't returned to an old normal is how travelers stay connected. Even as travel recovered, roaming didn't recover in the same way. A large share of our travelers actively avoid roaming today, not because they don't need connectivity, but because they don't trust the experience. So eSIM has moved away from earlier adopter phase, as we could have seen with the previous numbers. It's not about the numbers anymore, right? We're past the experimentation phase. We're now in a mass market phase with tremendous kind of acceleration on travel eSIM adoption, both domestically, but particularly in kind of travel environment. As of course, we're now living in a fully digital kind of world and environment and interaction through our Uber apps and Lyft and so forth. This is kind of the customer experience that our consumers are expecting. What's important here is that eSIM traffic is growing faster than traditional roaming traffic. That tells us the value chain is shifting. Connectivity no longer starts at the border, it starts digitally, often before the traveler even leaves home. Activation, distribution, and consumer engagements are all happening earlier and closer to the end user. That changes who controls the experience. It's not necessarily a rejection of the mobile operator. In fact, most travelers say they would prefer to stay with their existing provider. So it's a lack of transparent digital roaming options. Connectivity is no longer just offered by operators. We're seeing MVNOs, specific travel eSIM MVNOs focused on this segment. We're also seeing fintechs, VPN, and different types of kind of digital first brands embedded connectivity in their service. For them, eSIM isn't the product. It's part of a kind of broader digital experience. Some as a supplement kind of benefit to the product that they offer, and some in a kind of a part of a crucial extension of their product, where we see, for example, fintechs utilizing the data that they can generate by providing travel eSIM to limit fraud elements and so forth. Roaming is turning into a product, something that's activated in an app, something that's flexible, short-term, and easy to manage. But we see movements among certain mobile operators within the travel eSIM segment. The ones that are moving faster are doing three things. They're launching a branded travel eSIM offer. They're using platforms to scale globally. And they're rethinking partnerships to support the digital distribution and not just wholesale agreements. It's not only about pricing a megabyte and pushing it to your customer when they travel. It's actually looking at the whole chain and looking at the digital distribution and how you package this towards the customer. And when we talk about using platforms to scale globally, like Telna, we're now also seeing obviously a change. So when the customer is now using roaming, they're using it as they do in a domestic setting. TikTok, Instagram, video, and video calls, and so forth. There's a completely different view on latency, as an example. So your traditional roaming in the post-paid roaming world, charging per megabyte without control and so forth, the consumer utilized very little data. Then latency was not an issue. Now latency becomes an issue, and the requirement of breaking out and multiple destinations supports that kind of domestic utilization. Because obviously, you don't want to have a platform that's stuck in one region, doesn't allow breakouts. And in addition to that, it's important to consider that obviously brand loyalness is a key element in relation to that. But if the frictions are not removed, or there are significant frictions, the customer will be lost on the journey. So at this point, the direction is clear. Roaming will go digital. The real question for operators is how quickly they will adapt and how much value they want to retain along the way. At Telna, we believe strongly in this transition. That's why we have created an eSIM growth venture with $100 million in that we're looking to help partners move faster and reduce risks and scale digital roaming models globally. We don't just enable eSIM, we invest in its success.